What's up, ladies and gents? You know what time of day it is. It's XCN time, and in today's video we're going to be talking all about XCN. We're going to be discussing what we are seeing here on the charts, and I'll be giving you guys my price prediction for XCN over the coming days and weeks, as well as my targets for 2025. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. Of course, if you are a new viewer, then welcome to this channel. If you do like this sort of content, hit the like button and subscribe for more. If you are a returning viewer, as always, welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you all here. So, of course, we're going to be diving straight into this video. We're going to start off with the shorter term here for XCN, so the targets for the coming days and weeks. And of course, at the moment, what we've seen here on XCN over the past few days has been a nice little pump to the upside. Of course, this has been in line with the rest of the crypto market as everything has been moving higher. But for XCN, I still think that the prices are going to be going much higher, both in the shorter term and the longer term. So I'll explain in this video why I think that. So to explain the targets that I have here for XCN in the shorter term, we zoom out a little bit. And essentially, we've got quite a few things that we can deduce from this little pump that we've just had. And the first thing that we've been monitoring here on this channel, here on XCN, is the fact that XCN for the past few months has been following a resistance that looks a little bit like this, and also a support that looks a little bit like this. Now, of course, as you can see, for the past 3 months, the price of XCN has just been bouncing between these two trend lines in this sort of downtrend. And over the past few days, we have seen a successful breakout to the upside. Now, of course, this pattern that you see here on the screen is a falling wedge. And of course, when you see it, we do expect it to be a bullish outcome. And indeed, that's exactly what we saw here on XCN. We saw a breakout to the upside. The nice thing about these price patterns is that we can measure where we expect the price target to be for the breakout. Now, the target of the breakout from this falling wedge pattern is the distance between the first test of support to the first test of the resistance. We drag that to wherever we saw the breakout, so that happened a few days ago. And as you guys can see, the target in the shorter term here for XCN is at 0.025. Now, this target is the smallest target of the 3 targets that I'm going to be giving you. The next target here in the shorter term here for XCN, so let's say the prices get up to this level and continue to go up, then we could also be seeing the result of something that looks a little bit more like this. Now, of course, another way we can draw the support here for XCN is this support line that compasses the lows there from April all the way to now. And as you can see, it's also quite a strong support. The prices have come down to this support on multiple different occasions and tested it multiple different times. So this is also a logical support here for XCN. We've obviously still got the same resistance. And of course, if we are indeed seeing this triangle, then like the falling wedge, we get a price target from a breakout of the distance between the support there to the first test of resistance, and we just again drag that measuring tool to wherever we saw that breakout. And as you guys can see, we've got a bit more of an ambitious target on our hands in the shorter term. Of course, a 258% upside where we saw that breakout, and that puts the price target here for XCN at 0.055. So where the prices currently are right now, that's still a nearly 200% upside. So basically a 3x from where the prices are right now. Now, in the most ambitious case of this consolidation that we are seeing here on XCN, you'll notice that this resistance up here also extends pretty well to encompass this January high. So if we include the January high up here as a test of this upper resistance line, and then we've got all these other tests along here as well, this is now a 6-month long resistance that's been tested on lots of different occasions. And this breakout that we have just seen, guys, could be a result of this longer term consolidation that we've had here on XCN. And if that is the case, then the price target, like the other triangle and the falling wedge, is the first test of support, first test of resistance, the distance between them. We drag that to where that breakout was. And as you guys can see, the price target from that is just at the 0.1 mark. So a 546% upside in the most optimistic case. So in a way, we could look at these multiple price targets as places where you could potentially take some profit, particularly if you are a shorter term holder here on XCN. Of course, the first place case that we could be looking at to take profit is 0.025. Then the next one up here takes some partial profits to 0.055, and then if the prices continue to go up, then in theory you take out the rest at this top target here at 0.1. And of course here for XCN, I do think that these targets here that you're seeing on the screen are shorter term targets. So these are things that could be happening within the next few days to the next few weeks. And of course, what we are seeing here right now, in my opinion, is a repeat of what we saw back at the end of 2024 for XCN. So have a look at this period here. And basically, we are seeing, in my opinion, some resemblances now to what we saw back here. Of course, what we saw back at the start of November was when Trump got elected. And as soon as that occurred, if you remember, particularly the larger coins in the same category as XCN, such as XRP, for example, they went pretty parabolic after Trump got elected. That was basically right at the start of November there. You can see the prices on XRP, for example, went from 0.5 all the way to $3 basically in the space of a few weeks. Of course, here on XCN, in the same time frame, we saw this little bit of an upside, but compared to XRP, it kind of underperformed, and that made sense because XRP is a larger cap crypto. Remember, these two are in the same category. XCN is just a smaller market cap than XRP, so XRP will generally make the first move, and then we see smaller caps like XCN play catch up with XRP. So that's exactly what we saw within this time frame. XRP did this massive 6x in November, and XCN really performed its best when XRP made this secondary move up to that high there at 3.35. So when XRP did this secondary move here, XCN played catch up, and we saw this massive 20x price appreciation here on XCN in January. So we don't immediately see the larger caps and the smaller caps going parabolic at the same time, but if we have a look at the larger caps, they are already starting to break out of their consolidations. XRP, for example, I think will be going much higher, at least past the $4 mark. We've covered HBAR and XLM, two other coins in the same category here as XCN, and they are already starting to go pretty parabolic, as you can see on the charts. And so essentially, we're not going to see XCN basically copy them right as it happens, but over a delay of a few days to a few weeks, we are also going to start seeing XCN play catch up. So what could be a potential possibility for the price here on XCN, in my opinion, is that we do hit these price targets, but maybe we get to a smaller target first. Let's say there's 0.025, and the prices kind of just consolidate for a little while before we see that next big move up. And eventually, as the larger caps go parabolic, XCN will go parabolic and hit this target, in my opinion, soon after the larger caps do their thing. So that's exactly what we saw in this period as well. Of course, we saw this 2x appreciation when XRP did its massive 6x. We saw this consolidation for a little while. XCN was ready then to explode, and indeed it did explode quite rapidly. So that's what I'm kind of seeing with the price at this very current point in time. Of course, it is still very bullish in my opinion. The whole markets are moving higher. We are seeing Bitcoin making new all-time highs. Just a few hours ago, we saw it hit 123,000. So that can only be good for the rest of crypto as well. And so in my opinion, it's only a matter of time before we see XCN catching up with the rest of the larger caps within its category. Of course, guys, don't forget, if you want to get $10 completely free to buy some XCN with, then don't forget to check out the MEXC exchange. As you can see on the screen, they're giving every user who signs up using the link in the description down below $10 to get started. Remember, this exchange does not require KYC. All you need to do to claim that $10 is to deposit some fiat currency or crypto into your new account, and then that $10 bonus is yours. So like I say, you can buy some XCN with it, or you can long or short XCN with up to 20 times leverage using their MEXC futures. Of course, again, the link for this is in the description down below. Thank you guys, as always. Let's get back into this video. So of course, plenty of reasons to be bullish here on XCN in the shorter term. One last thing that I want to show you guys as well is the MACD, and this is how it looks at the moment. Basically, it is bullish. Look, we are seeing green bars, which indicates that on the longer term, we are seeing bullish momentum enter here into XCN. But the important point is that look at how high the MACD was when XCN made its peak there in January. Of course, we saw massive momentum in this period. And now have a look at the momentum right now. We are nowhere near the peak that we were in January. And of course, in my opinion, this is good because the MACD has a lot of space to run higher. Of course, as you can see, we've got all this way to travel before the MACD looks a little bit overextended. Of course, translated to the price, that could mean that we are going quite a bit higher. Of course, the same with the trading volume as well. The trading volume has picked up a little bit. In fact, let me see if we can see this better on the 4 hour. We've got a little bit of trading volume here. But if we have a look at the trading volume that we saw back in January, again, this is absolutely just dwarfs the trading volume that we've seen right now. So again, we have a lot of space for the trading volume and the MACD to run higher, which would indicate the prices going higher here on XCN as well. But here for the longer term, so now I'm talking about my targets for 2025. Essentially, I do think the prices could be going even higher than what we discussed for the shorter term. And my main targets here for 2025 lie along these fib levels, because as you can see, the price here on XCN really does respect these fib levels as places of support and resistance. For example, you can see the fib levels were used on multiple occasions by the XCN chart. And so we know that XCN likes to find support and resistance at these fib levels. So basically, when prices get up past their previous high at the 5 cents region or 0.05, we've got these 3 major fib levels lying directly above them. Now, the first fib level there, 1.272, tells us that we could see a target of 0.11 here on XCN. Now, of course, in my opinion, that could even be a shorter term target since we have that larger triangle telling us we could get to 0.1 anyway. So this is one that we could even see within the next few weeks. Of course, my first main target for 2025, so something that I think is going to happen probably in Q4 of 2025, is this 1.414 fib here, and that sits at 0.17. Now, of course, that is also the previous all-time high here for XCN, so this is a very important resistance. If we can smash past the previous all-time high, then the next fib waiting for us is this golden fib there, 1.618. And of course, that gives us a target of 0.32 here on XCN. So these two levels are my main targets for 2025, 0.17, 0.32. And of course, for the best possible chance to get to these upper price targets, we obviously need to see the market doing well. For example, if Bitcoin hits its price target there of 149,000, that's going to give XCN a really good shot in my opinion. What we also want to see is other coins in the same category as XCN doing particularly as well, particularly the larger caps within the same category. So for example, XRP, we want to see this doing extremely well. Of course, the target from this kind of bull flag that we basically have here on XRP is sitting at roughly $9. So that in general is my main target for XRP in 2025. And of course, if we do reach that target, that's going to be monumentally bullish here for XCN. So ideally, we want to see these larger caps doing particularly well as well for the best possible chance of XCN to make another 20x run. Of course, on top of that as well, what we want to see are these two indicators giving us some favorable numbers. So basically, for both of them, the higher the better. They're both out of 100. And essentially, for the Fear and Greed Index, we want to see a value here of at least 80. That means there is extreme greed in the market. For the Altcoin Season Index, we want to see a value of at least 75. And that just generally means that altcoins as a whole are outperforming Bitcoin. And so when you couple these two together, so 80 or above for Fear and Greed and 75 or above for the Altcoin Season Index, then you get this perfect storm where you kind of get these frenzies where the prices do these massive multiples, 2x's, 5x's, 10x's, even 100x's in the shortest spaces of time. And it's that kind of environment that really gives coins like XCN the best possible chance of making another parabolic move like what we saw in January to these upper price targets. So that's basically what I'm watching for. Those two indicators are more long-term things. So if you're a longer-term holder, these two are really good to monitor every now and then if you have the time. Basically, if these numbers are very high, then it could be a good idea to be considering selling portions of your holdings. But yeah, those are basically my thoughts here for XCN, both in the shorter term and the longer term. Of course, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Do let me know down in the comments if you are holding any XCN. If you are holding XCN, let me know if you are staking your XCN for yield. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.